So let's say one of these 4 niches is healthy cupcakes for girls. That's what I want to go for. I don't know why, but healthy cupcakes for girls. Let's say this is what we're going to publish it. Okay, we went inside, we searched it. There's 7 competitors that are selling. Okay, here are the 7 competitors that are selling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now there's also another niche that we search for, and it's fun facts for boys. Let's say this is one of the niches. And now in this niche, there's only 3 books that are selling. Now, if we just look at this, you might say, oh, we should publish in fun facts for boys because the supply is much lower. It'll be super, super easy to compete. But both of them have a low supply because 7 is not a lot of people. 3 is even less, I agree. But both of them have a low supply, and let's say both of them have high demand as well. So all of these are selling, all of these are selling. Now, the only thing that we're looking for to differentiate the fun facts for boys and the healthy cupcakes for girls is this: money allocation. What does that mean? That means, how is the money in the niche spread out between the books, between your competitors that are selling? So let's imagine this is 300 sales a month, this is 150 sales a month, and this is 70 sales a month. Let's do 75. Now let's say I'm going to take this away. Okay, so let's say these numbers right here are the amount of sales that they're making per month. So this book is making 1,000 sales a month. This one's making 50, 15, 3, 16, 35, and 20. And the keyword healthy cupcakes for girls, let's just assume that it gets 1,000 searches a month. Okay, this is not accurate. I'm just giving you the example. So it's getting 1,000 searches a month. This niche is getting 300 searches a month. You might want to say, oh, 1,000 searches a month and low supply sounds pretty good. And 300 searches a month and low supply also sounds kind of good, but 300 doesn't sound as good as 1,000. And I agree with you. 1,000 is a much nicer number than 300, especially when it comes to search volume. But we're looking at the money allocation. And what does that mean? The distribution of money throughout the niche. So look at this. If this book is making 300 sales a month, this one's making 150, and this one's making 75, it means that, I did the maths down here as well, it means 57% of the money is going towards this book, 28% of the money is going towards this book, and 14% of the money is going towards this book. So the money allocation right here, this guy obviously has the most, but this guy has around 28%, this guy has 14%. So the money allocation is all right. It's not like a massive difference. From 57 to 28, these 2 guys are the best, obviously. And the 14% guy is just getting the little crumbs. But what about this one? Well, this one, if you do the calculations, this book right here, just one book from the 7, is getting over 80% of the money. So what does that mean? It means most of the money, even though this guy's 57%, this guy's 80%. It means most of the money is getting allocated to the strong competitor. This is probably an authority figure, probably has 2,000 reviews and all of that. If you try and publish in this niche, who are you more likely to be? Are you going to beat the guy that's doing 1,000? Or are you just going to beat the guys doing 50, 15, 3, 16, 35, and 20? You're probably going to beat these guys, which means even if you take even if you completely destroy everyone, you destroy all of these guys, you're still barely getting like 100 sales a month. And you're not going to destroy all of them because everyone's still buying all the books. So this is basically the average of what you can make, anywhere from 50 to 3 sales. Obviously, it all depends on your book, I know. But all I'm trying to show you here is if 1 or 2 books in that niche, even if the supply is low and the demand is high, if 1 to 2 books in that niche are authority figures and they're getting 70, 80, 90% of all the sales, of all the money in the niche, probably not a very good niche to publish in because you're directly competing with this guy, with the main guy. But if you go in a niche, even if it has a lower search volume, but the money allocation is more even, it means you have a higher chance of competing. I don't like to publish in a niche with big authority figures because I'm competing with someone who's probably been on there for years, built up reviews, and is getting most of the money in the niche. But if you see some books with one book has a 16,000 rank, the other one has a 24,000 rank, the other one has a 7,000 rank, and the other one has a 40,000 rank, that's a good niche because there's a big variety of ranks. So you can go in and compete. But if you have the same niche and one guy has 1,000 rank and the other guys have 80,000 and 90,000 and 102,000, that's not a very good niche to publish in because only one guy is getting most of them. So you have to look at the ABSR number and look at the money allocation. If you find an even money allocation, not a very big, wide gap between the big guy and the second guy, then you're good. I published in one niche, and one guy had a 7,000 ABSR, and the other guy had a 16,000 ABSR. The second guy. This was first guy, this guy's the second guy. I published in that niche, and I was successful because this gap is not big enough for you to count this guy as an authority figure. But if this guy was on 7,000 and the second guy was on 80,000, that's a massive gap. Obviously, you're gonna have to go in and see why is this guy on 7,000, why is this guy on 80,000. You're gonna have to go and do your own research and see, is it the reviews, is it the cover, is it the A+ content? That's everything for later on. But if you're stuck between two niches and you don't know which one to publish in, look at the money allocation. Look at if there are any authority figures that are just getting all the money, getting all the sales for them. I wouldn't recommend publishing in a niche with a massive authority figure. It's very hard to compete with them. So I'm going to show you the real reason why money allocation is one of the most important things, and it's actually what's going to make you a super successful publisher. I'm going to show you that right now. So the whole point of money allocation is literally just one thing. It's simply to find if there are any authority figures. If there are authority figures, that means they're getting the majority of the sales. Let's say 80%. Guess what happens? If they're an authority figure getting 80% of the sales, what does that mean? That means they're also getting 80% of the money in that niche. Now here's the thing. Do you want to compete with these guys? No. Why? Because you want to be this guy. You want to be the guy that's getting 80% of the sales. You want to be the guy that's getting, or the girl, I'm not trying to be a misogynist here, but guy or girl, whatever you are, you want to be the person getting 80% of the money. And you can't do it if there's 4 books and the top person is getting 80% of the sales and everyone else is getting the little breadcrumbs. You don't want to be one of these people getting the breadcrumbs. I know our maths doesn't really add up here, but just ignore it. You want to be the guy that's getting all the sales, even if it's 60% of the sales. You want to be the main guy, and you can't be the main guy if the money allocation between the first guy and the second guy is absolutely massive. You don't want to do that. Looking at the money allocation is the difference between you making $100 a month and making $1,000 a month. Now, which one sounds better to you? $100 a month or $1,000 a month? To me, $1,000 a month sounds pretty good from one book especially. Now, I don't really follow the advice of people saying, oh, publish as many books as possible until one of them succeeds, because that's not the way to make a lot of money. It's the way to make a lot of little bits of money because you're one of these guys at every niche that you publish in. But if you focus in on one niche, you can become this guy. When you become this guy, that's when you make $1,000 a month from one book. So money allocation, super, super important. Make sure there's no authority figures because you want to be the authority figure. Like imagine you trying to publish a book where you're competing with Gordon Ramsay. What are the chances that you're going to steal Gordon Ramsay's sales? Almost zero, because the guy's a legend. So here's what you don't want. You don't want niches with bad money allocation, which basically means the authority figure in that niche is getting all the money for themselves and you're left with the breadcrumbs. You don't want the breadcrumbs. You want the whole pie. Let the others take the breadcrumbs. Now, you also don't want a niche when no one is selling because there's simply no demand. And you also don't want a niche where there's way too many books because there's too much supply, too much. So you don't want any of these three. So you're looking for a niche with low supply, high demand, and good money allocation. So no authority figures. There can be a person with 1,000 reviews, that's okay, as long as they're just not getting 80% of the sales. If the person with 1,000 reviews is getting 20% of the sales, that's fine, because it's very easy for you to take over these 20%, especially if your book is better.